At the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the evening was unfolding like any other major political event until everything suddenly changed. A man carrying a shotgun charged toward a security checkpoint, and within moments, panic spread across the area. Guests quickly ducked for cover, some tried to hide, while agents from the United States Secret Service rushed into action. Donald Trump and Melania Trump were immediately escorted out of the venue and taken to a secure location as the situation unfolded. During the chaos, one officer was shot from very close distance with a high-powered weapon, but he survived because his bulletproof vest absorbed the impact. Trump later revealed that he personally spoke with the officer afterward and said the
charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now, put out on Truth and put out on many other platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer, and he's doing great. He's great shape. He has very high spirits, and we told him we love him and respect him, and he's a very proud guy. He's very proud.
Roughly an hour later, Trump posted an update online confirming that the suspect had been taken into custody. He also shared video footage showing the man attempting to force his way through security, along with an image of him being held face down on the ground by officers. Authorities later identified the suspect as Cole Thomas Allen, a 31-year-old man from California. Trump called him a deeply disturbed individual and said federal agents were already preparing to search his apartment as the investigation
has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California, and he's a sick person, a very sick person, and we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though, and I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job with such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible. The
FBI later released a statement saying the suspect acted alone and that there was no ongoing threat to the public. But as more details from the investigation started surfacing, reports began spreading online about a voicemail allegedly connected to the shooter, suggesting that the real target may not have been the president at all, but instead the First Lady. That immediately raised the question of why Melania Trump would be targeted in the first place. Recently, Melania held a press conference attempting to clear her name regarding alleged connections to Jeffrey Epstein. What made the situation unusual was that there had not been any major public report about her at that specific time, which led many people to wonder what exactly she was trying to get ahead of and why the sudden need to respond. That is when her former close friend, Amanda Unaro, became part of the conversation. Amanda had reportedly been close to Melania for many years and was also involved in a long-term relationship with Paolo Zampoli, the man widely known for helping bring Melania to New York during the 1990s and someone who remained closely connected to Donald Trump over the years. Amanda made it clear that she believed she had important information to reveal. She claimed she lived with Zampoli for nearly 2 decades and openly stated that Melania had no idea how much she actually knew. When she was asked whether she would testify before officials if necessary, she answered yes immediately without any hesitation. Amanda also hinted that Melania's unexpected press conference may not have been random at all. According to multiple sources, it may have been sparked by fears that damaging receipts were about to surface, including alleged documents and even possible purchase agreements. Some people now believe that if anyone truly wanted to silence Melania, it may have been because she was preparing to speak out against a powerful circle of people, one that allegedly could even involve her own husband, Donald Trump. Amanda's personal story added even more emotion to the situation. She said she first met Zampoli when she was only 15 years old, and claimed he began pursuing her while she was still underage. She described the relationship as deeply abusive, saying she endured years of control, harassment, intimidation, and violence. Amanda alleged that her passports were taken from her, that she was constantly followed, and that even her phone activity was monitored. There is something deeply disturbing about the claims she has now decided.
There is something seriously wrong here that needs to be looked at. It is being completely overlooked that there is a man who is a part of our current administration who is in a long-term relationship and has a child with a model who he has been representing since she was a teenager, and also appeared on Jeffrey's flight logs when she was just 17 years old. I've already done an in-depth video, but I'm going to give you the cliff notes so that you can understand why I believe that this is very alarming. So Paolo Zampoli, we've talked about him many times. He works in our current administration. He is on the board of the Kennedy Center. He has been a close friend and advisor and business partner to our sitting president since the 90s. He was the modeling agent who brought Melania to the United States to meet Donald Trump originally, and they would go on to be married. Right around the same time, in the mid to late 90s, both Paolo and Donald Trump would open their own modeling agencies. Both of their modeling agencies would go on to face claims and accusations of R-word, SA, theft of wages, overcrowded apartments where the models would be housed, exploitation, and visa fraud. Paolo is a United Nations diplomat. From 2013 to 2014, he collaborated with Ghislaine and Jeffrey's fake oceanic nonprofit environmental organization, Terramar, which allowed Jeffrey and Ghislaine to make further connections and gain credibility through working with the United Nations. Through his modeling agency, ID Models, he would go on to represent a Brazilian teenager named Amanda Ungaro, and that is the teenager who would appear on Jeffrey's flight logs back in 2002 when she was just 17 years old. Just a few years after Amanda appeared on Jeffrey's flight logs, Paolo would go on to date her, and they would have a child together. And she would go on to also become a United Nations ambassador. And they have been together romantically for nearly 20 years, minus a brief moment in 2018 when they did break up. Amanda tried to leave Paolo in 2018 during Trump's first term, but Paolo called in some favors and had her flagged through immigration so that she could not return to her home country with her son. And Paolo also refused to pay her any kind of child support if she were to leave him. After this, they rekindled their relationship despite repeated allegations of infidelity and SA that Paolo has engaged in while in their relationship. Most recently, in June of 2025, just a couple months back, right around the time when the files became a topic of conversation again, Amanda was arrested in Miami alongside a Brazilian doctor, and they were arrested for illegally operating a medical facility, grand theft, organized scheme to defraud, and illegally acquiring prescription medications to give their patients, as they were allegedly offering invasive cosmetic procedures without any kind of licensing. When she was arrested, Amanda was placed on an immigration hold and set to be deported, and that is the last thing that we have heard.
She went even further by claiming that Zampoli had ties to Jeffrey Epstein and described him as someone who allegedly recruited young women for Epstein's circle. Amanda also suggested that certain relationships, including Melania's, appeared carefully arranged, almost as if they were part of something much larger happening behind the scenes. She later posted direct warnings online, saying she was prepared to take legal action and insisting that she had absolutely nothing left to lose anymore. Amanda claimed she was fully ready to reveal everything she knew, even if it meant exposing extremely powerful people in the process. She also openly stated that both Melania and Donald Trump should be concerned about the information she allegedly possesses. On top of all that, Amanda said she is now being treated like a fugitive by authorities. According to her claims, a prosecutor named Stacey Cleveland officially labeled her that way, and she says there is currently an active arrest warrant.
Pam Bondi actually awarded the lead detective who led Amanda's arrest, raid of her home and her workplace, and transfer to ICE custody, Detective Kenneth Seeley, with an Attorney General Award for his work as a detective back in 2019. More on that detective in a moment. Another name that Amanda gave me was Florida State Prosecutor Stacey Cleveland. This is the prosecutor who initially brought charges against Amanda and her now husband. As a Florida prosecutor, Stacey Cleveland would have rapport with the Attorney General's office. Pam Bondi was Attorney General from 2011 to 2019. Stacey Cleveland often gives teaching seminars to Florida police officers, specifically in the Miami-Dade County, which is where the Aventura Police Department is located. And the Aventura Police Department is the police department who handled the arrest of Amanda. And just as a side note, Pam Bondi has also been featured in the Aventura Police Department's newsletters. And just to understand the weakness of the case that Stacey Cleveland's office has against Amanda Ungaro, the only piece of evidence of Amanda's crimes that they have shared with Amanda's legal team is a singular photograph of Amanda touching an FDA-approved laser machine. Not using the laser on a patient, her hand was placed on the machine. Amanda did nothing illegal whatsoever, which is probably why she was deported instead of given due process and a trial. I can only speak for myself when I say I most certainly would not want to be on the prosecuting end of this case when I know what kind of evidence that the defense is holding. The next figure who Amanda named, who we just talked about briefly, is Detective Kenneth Seeley of the City of Aventura Police Department, badge number 289. Like I just said before, Kenneth Seeley is the lead detective who handled the arrest and the raiding of Amanda and her partner.
Amanda believes the prosecutor handling the situation may be compromised because of alleged communication with Zampoli. She also claims that there was once an effort to have her sentenced to 6 years in prison, even though, according to her, no actual evidence was ever presented in court. The main issue she continues to raise is that she believes even the basic justification for her possible deportation has never been clearly explained. Under normal circumstances, that would already be something worth investigating more closely, yet Amanda insists that no solid evidence supporting those actions has been publicly.
It doesn't make any sense how the United States is actively deporting a United Nations diplomat, and it's not being talked about at all in mainstream media. Regardless of the fact that she was on Jeffrey's plane at 17 years old, went on to have a child with the agent who is supposed to be representing her, who's 15 years her senior. Putting that aside because that's extremely relevant, but the fact that they're trying to deport a United Nations diplomat makes no sense at all. It doesn't make even a little bit of sense. I really hope that everyone is beginning to see the correlation between Donald Trump's modeling agency, Paulo Zimpoli's modeling agency, John Casablanca's modeling agency, Jean-Luc Brunel's modeling agency, and how all of those men were friends of Jeffrey, and they all happily gave Jeffrey access to the droves of young girls and women that they had virtual ownership of. And we know for a fact that all of these men had very similar business models when it came to running modeling agencies. We know for a fact that one of the main ways that these men stacked their modeling agencies was via selling dreams to vulnerable young girls and young women, then illegally bringing them from overseas to the United States, where these young girls and young women would work for them. They would live in housing that they provided for them, which was typically overcrowded and run down. And these men would take up to 80% of these girls' wages, and these girls would be left at the mercy of them, not by their own choice, because they were guaranteed that their immigration would be all sorted out, but it never was. And before they knew it, they have nowhere to go. Obviously, this wasn't just happening internationally, this was happening domestically as well. But when it did happen internationally, and it did often, these girls would be put in terrible situations. A lot of these women and young girls would be required to attend events and parties to entertain the friends and associates of their bosses. And due to the nature of some of the accusations that have been levied against all of these men's modeling agencies, it's very safe to say that we all know what kind of operation this was. And right now, it's really starting to look like there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes to ensure that any victim is completely silenced, even if it means them being deported when they hold the title of United Nations diplomat. I'm telling you guys, something is not right.
Right now, the growing concern is that if any of these accusations turn out to be true, there could be serious efforts happening behind closed doors to keep certain people silent, even if that pressure involves legal action or possible deportation threats. At the same time, several public figures continue denying any meaningful connections to Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump, for example, has repeatedly claimed that he was never truly friends with Epstein, although past photos and multiple public reports have suggested otherwise over the years. In a 2017 email reportedly sent to former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, Epstein allegedly wrote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body, so yes, dangerous." Then, in a separate 2018 text message sent to an unidentified person, Epstein reportedly stated, "I am the one who can take him down." Despite the public denials that came later, Trump and Epstein were known to have socialized and maintained a friendship.
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my fifth, sixth, and fourth.
After Trump officially launched his presidential campaign in 2015, Epstein reportedly told at least one reporter that he had damaging information he was willing to share. According to those reports, Epstein allegedly said, "Ask my houseman about Donald walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass while young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so distracted that he walked directly into the door." Epstein then reportedly added, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?" Trump has strongly denied any wrongdoing and later claimed that he ended his friendship with Epstein after learning that Epstein and his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, were allegedly recruiting women and underage girls.
He stole people that worked for me. I said, "Don't ever do that again." He did it again, and I threw him out of the place.
There is another part of this story that some people believe paints an even more troubling picture surrounding Melania Trump and her early years in the United States. Reports from the Associated Press examined details connected to her immigration history and uncovered records about how she first entered the country back in 1996. According to that reporting, Melania arrived in the United States using a B1/B2 tourist visa. That type of visa normally allows a person to remain in the country for a limited period of time, usually up to 6 months, but it does not legally permit someone to work while staying there. The major issue raised in those reports centers around what allegedly happened after her arrival, especially regarding photos and modeling work that reportedly followed soon afterward.
Photos fanned across the covers of the New York Post, a 25-year-old Melania Trump, then known as Melania K, posing provocatively for a French magazine. But the photos that raised a few eyebrows are now raising questions about Melania's immigration history.
And I came to United States, to New York, in 1996.
1996 is the year she stands by, telling CNN's Anderson Cooper and numerous other publications that's when she came to the U.S. But these photos were snapped in New York City in 1995, according to the author of her recent biography. So what difference does a year make? Possibly the difference between Mrs. Trump breaking immigration law or not. To understand why, listen to Melania Trump's own words.
I came here on visa. I flew to Slovenia every few months to stamp it and came back. I applied for green card and then after a few years for citizenship. I obeyed the law. I did it the right way. I didn't just sneak in and stay here. So I think that's what people should do.
Trump insists she got her visa stamped every few months. If that's accurate, it would mean she had a type of visa, possibly a tourist visa, that needs to be updated periodically. But that type of visa does not allow working in the United States. The type of visa that does allow work is called H-1B. And the man who discovered Melania tells CNN he didn't sponsor her for an H-1B until 1996, a year after this racy photo shoot. But there's a caveat. The photographer behind the camera at the shoot, Yar Ale de Bosville, says Melania was a young model waiting for a big break, so she didn't get paid, which would mean she didn't violate any immigration laws.
We were making this kind of magazine to have exposure, and this exposure was bringing you to the next level to have catalog, campaign, and everything.
So Melania was not paid for this photo shoot, you say?
No. Nobody's paying. Nobody's paying.
If that non-paid photo shoot was the only work she did before getting an H-1B visa, she wouldn't have broken any laws. Melania Trump isn't directly answering whether she was first in New York in 1995 instead of 1996 like she's previously stated, But could it simply be an honest error? She wrote this on Twitter. Let me set the record straight. I have at all times been in full compliance with the immigration laws of this country, period. Any allegation to the contrary is...
Another possibility is that Melania may not have fully understood the immigration rules at the time. During the 1990s, especially within New York's modeling industry, it was reportedly common for agencies to bring foreign models into the country on short-term visas and still have them work anyway. Some reports claimed that many young models were told this was completely normal, even if it was not technically legal under immigration law. Because of that, it is possible she may have been misled by agencies, managers, or employers handling those arrangements. Either way, under U.S. immigration law, working while on a tourist visa is considered a violation of visa rules. This became much more important later when Melania received a green card in 2001 and eventually became a United States citizen. During that process, applicants are generally required to confirm that they have followed immigration laws honestly and accurately. If any earlier work activity did violate those rules, then that period of her history could naturally raise serious questions. In theory, the U.S. government would normally be expected to review those details and possibly even investigate whether any misrepresentation occurred during the immigration application process. The issue gained even more attention during a House hearing when Jasmine Crockett publicly questioned how Melania was granted an EB-1 visa in 2001. That visa is often nicknamed the Einstein visa because it is typically reserved for people who demonstrate extraordinary ability or exceptional achievements in their field. Crockett's argument was straightforward. She claimed the program is usually intended for individuals with major accomplishments and international...
We're eating up all the time on the other
okay,
point.
well,
but
let's jump to Melania.
Yeah.
Let's jump to Melania. It's a Friday, folks, so we're going to jump around. All right, so back to Melania. Look, I think what she's pointing out, one, this is not a news story. This is not a news story.
Right. People have been bringing this up about Melania for a long time.
Yeah. Washington Post has reported on this back several years ago, I believe it was. I think what she's trying to point out here, as the immigration policies right now are under fire and under scrutiny, is the inequity that someone who was, I think, dating Trump at that time, Melania Trump, or they were in a serious relationship, something of that nature, gets this seemingly pass. She was one of 5 people at that time from Slovenia who actually were granted the EB-1 visa. And she does not have, I would agree with Jasmine Crockett, she does not have any Einstein nature qualities or talents that would put her underneath that program.
So the EB-1 visa does have the Einstein statute in it, but it also has other statutes as well. So you can get the EB-1 visa either through a one-time major international achievement, like a Nobel Prize, for example, but you can also get it by meeting 3 out of 10 specific criteria, including nationally/internationally recognized awards, high salary relative to others in the field, membership in distinguished associations, leading roles in distinguished organizations, or published material about their work. And there's an arts category that explicitly includes modeling, and extraordinary ability means being one of the small percentage who have risen to the very top of their field. She was a supermodel who had worked with very well-known photographers who had graced the covers of numerous fashion magazines, was demanding a very high rate to her work. So I think it's inarguable that she qualified for that arts category in the modeling.
Yeah, I would disagree on that. And we could probably go back and forth on what we consider extraordinary. And I'm aware of all of that list, but I think, was she extraordinary, a supermodel who was extraordinary? I don't know about that one. Just saying.
She was making a lot of money. I don't know.
I'm just saying. Well, really, we don't know how much she was making, because, that's her private business. We don't know how much. We just know that her profile got significantly higher when she started dating Trump, who was extremely popular across the spectrum back then, and wasn't involved in politics yet. But you're talking about a very wealthy man who had a great amount of influence, and you happen to be dating him. I mean, we just look at the math ain't math. You just happen to be dating him, and you get this EB-1.
So, the doubt still remains about how that approval process actually worked, and whether it was purely based on merit or if there were other influences involved behind the scenes. Some people argue that the latter possibility is what makes this situation more controversial, especially if the allegations connecting Melania to Jeffrey Epstein were ever proven to be true. Over the years, there have also been ongoing rumors suggesting that she may not have always been happy in her marriage to Donald Trump, and observers have pointed to a few public moments where she appeared distant or uncomfortable, which only added more speculation.
Not the first lady to have to deal with her husband's alleged infidelities. Has this put a strain on your marriage?
It is not concern and focus of mine. I'm a mother and a first lady, and I have much more important things to think about and to do. I know people like to speculate, and media like to speculate about our marriage.
You mentioned you still have a good marriage. Do you love your husband?
Yes, we are fine. Yes. It's what media speculate, and it's gossip. It's not always.
A major example comes from Stephanie Winston Wolkoff, who says she was close to Melania for about 15 years. Wolkoff has often framed her account as a version of the American dream, describing how she grew up in Slovenia and later moved to the United States in her mid-20s to pursue a modeling career. Not long after arriving, she met Donald Trump, and the two eventually married in 2005. Trump himself has described their first meeting in fairly simple terms, saying he noticed her at an event, approached her, and felt there was an immediate sense of chemistry between them.
We met in New York 1996 in September. We met at the fashion party. It was a big fashion party that my friend organized, Fashion Week, and he invited me. That's how we met with Donald.
Did you like him immediately or not?
I like him. He had a great charm, but he arrived with the date.
Oh.
So, and he was very charming and a great mind and great energy. We had connection from the beginning.
And when was the next time you saw him?
We saw each other, I think, around a week, because I had work obligations. I traveled to Caribbean for a photo shoot. So when I came back, I called him and we got together.
So you called him?
Yes.
He didn't call you?
Well, first when we met, I didn't give him my number. He was with the date. So I told him, give me your number and I will call you. I wanted to see what kind of number he would give me. Business, home. If he would give me a business number, I'm not a girl doing business with him. Why he would give me a business number? So he gave me all of them. And when I came back, I said, give me your number, I promise I will call you. And I came back after the photo shoot and I called him.
And so then you went out on a date?
We went on the date and we had a great time.
Where'd you go?
We went to Mumbai. It was a place in New York, downtown, and it was a fun place, and we stayed for quite a...
Wolkoff, however, presents a more calculated interpretation of what happened afterward. She claims the relationship worked in a way where both sides benefited, with Trump gaining a partner who strengthened his public image, while Melania's status steadily rose over time, eventually leading her to become... So now there are two women who claim to have important things to say about Melania Trump and her life behind the public image. One suggests there are hidden dynamics and unanswered questions, while the other describes a more strategic, mutually beneficial rise through the political and social world. Together, their accounts have fueled speculation and debate about what really happened away from the spotlight. Still, much of this remains based on personal claims, interpretations, and public rumors rather than confirmed evidence.